Oh, hi.
Hi, hello.
You're back. That's then. 2 minutes. Okay. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Hanging in there.
Excellent.
So
Mm-hmm.
here I am. I landed last night.
From where?
The journey started in Newfoundland on
Wow.
the last Friday, whatever that is.
Props for saying Newfoundland correctly. A lot of people say Newfoundland.
It should be Newfoundland, Newfoundland. Yeah. So I was there for just about a year.
Oh wow.
I went there to publish.
Mm-hmm.
To collect, organize, and publish evidence against this Ottawa-based syndicate that has provincial, federal, and international ties. It's human trafficking and more.
Okay.
It gets very complicated.
Right.
So I've been arrested multiple times. I have no crime record. I'm not an addict. I have no history of weapons violence. Nothing. A targeted individual. If you're aware of what gang stalking is.
Not really.
Okay, there's a tab on my website. You can have a button over there, pfi.rocks, my business card. So there's some, I'm rebuilding that section. My previous site was shut down, so.
Okay. So, you called 211.
Mm-hmm.
What's your kind of primary concern with calling?
Well, I don't want to be, I have 6 pieces of luggage,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to be on a park bench. And the homeless situation across Canada is crazy, right? And people, I just came from Newfoundland where I was lucky to be in an emergency shelter for 2 nights. Oh, sorry. I was just finishing this. Hang on. Yeah, so I was in an emergency shelter for 2 nights, and people who don't get in are given a blanket and sent to a park.
Oh, okay.
So I envision myself like this, with this, being given a blanket or not, and sent to a park. And I would prefer to avoid that if possible.
Mm-hmm.
I had, I kind of calculated it all out, and I had about $5,000 left to get back from Newfoundland to Ontario. Enough time to, stay in a cheap motel for a month, maybe get a job, apply for wealth, do what I have to do. But the woman with whom I was lodging decided she would rather steal whatever money I have and my belongings, because I was trying to sell the stuff I had. And so she basically stole it all.
Where was this?
So this is in St. John's. Okay. And so I was forced to leave with next to nothing, just to get out.
How'd you get here then?
With what I had left, which is a prepaid credit card.
Did you get a plane, bus ticket?
Oh gosh,
train
no.
ticket?
No. So I took. You really want to know? Okay, so the bus goes
from.
So I slept in MUN, they call it, the University of St. John's.
Memorial. Yep.
Yeah. So I slept in Memorial. Caught the bus at 7:30. Takes you to Port aux Basques.
Port aux Basques, yep. The ferry.
You take the ferry to North Sydney.
Yep.
You take the bus to Halifax. Then weird thing happened. I ended up in McDonald's, 24-hour McDonald's.
Okay.
And then from there, you get on the train, which goes through New Brunswick, Montreal. More weird things happen there. End up, because it's delayed, all sorts of weird stuff. So I end up switching trains, train down through Toronto, then hopped on the go to Burlington, and then the bus from Burlington to
here.
Niagara Falls.
Okay.
So it was about 3 days.
It's a long trip. It's a long trip for sure. Yeah. Okay. So how long do you have here at the motel?
I just, so when I landed, on the sidewalk with no shelters, because I was on the phone the entire time from Burlington.
Yeah.
And to, everywhere. You recognize those names, I'm sure?
Yes. Okay.
So there was nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, the shelters are very busy these days, unfortunately.
So I had a couple $100 left, and so taxi driver just happened to arrive, and I said, I really need a cheap motel, or I'm going to be in a park. And so he drove me here, and they offered me last night for $78 with a big cash deposit, because I don't use credit cards. That's another story. And so I'm like, oh, thank goodness. I haven't been horizontal in like a week, comfortably.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. It's been a week. And I'm 58, and I used to be in super great shape, but that was before. So, So yeah, so fine, $78, great. I was just grateful. Felt blessed for the bed, and tried all morning to see if there was shelter space. Nothing.
Yeah.
So I went back to pay another 78, and they go, it's 110. I was like, I don't have 110. So here's your 78, and can you take the rest of the deposit? So they said okay.
I guess you're here for another.
I'm here tonight.
Okay.
And I've reached out to a friend who was, I knew this was going to happen. Like, I knew long ago the goal is to drive me to homelessness and poverty and desperation, so I off myself. That's what the goal of the syndicate is. It wouldn't surprise me if they've got side bets, like a hockey pool.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Deirdre Moore hockey pool. What's the year and the month? Put your bet. And every year I survive, that pool gets folded over to me. This is how sick this syndicate is. Anyway, so I thought, well, if I'm going to be homeless and in shelters, I'm going to start documenting it and try to turn it into a documentary. And so this was the book I started with. And so I was taking, my question, so when I was in the Gathering Place in St. John's, I got permission from everyone, and I had all my stuff, right? So I basically set up a booth. Mm-hmm. And I just can you, if you're interested, and I have interviewing, I interviewed one so far, so I'm going to interview some of these people and just publish it, because people have no idea what's going on. And so I started taking names and stories. I said, just tell me briefly on one page, like, how did you end up homeless? So that's what I'm doing to try to raise awareness on orchestrated poverty and homelessness. Yeah, so, sorry, I got some bit of a tangent because that brings me, it's brutal what's going on in St. John's. It's disgusting. I'm just taking pictures of it and stuff. It's horrific what's happening. Anyway, so yeah, I'm here for tonight. The checkout is at 11. I've reached out to, this is my tangent, right? So as I was going broke, it didn't stop me from helping other people who are down and out.
Right.
So some of those people that I gave money to maybe a couple of years ago, well, they're still, they're not in the park. And so I'm saying, hey, you know what? Anything to delay this an extra day, because I have an interview with Welfare on Monday at 9.
Okay, good.
Right? So if they can...
How are you?
Yeah, so I'm just I shouldn't have to do any of this. This is crazy. I own a $500,000 home in Ottawa. I should have been getting $7,500 a month in spousal support way back when. He's still driving a Volvo wearing Hugo Boss saying, oh, my wife's really mentally ill. I lost my best friend. He's a complete narcopath. Mm-hmm. So I don't like asking people for money. I don't like using social services. I don't like free. I should be able to pay for myself. Thank you very much. However, the situation that I'm in. So if the person I helped out a couple of years ago can give me a couple extra $100 that she doesn't even really have, but she's gonna try to round it up, then I may be on tomorrow at 11.
Okay.
I'm still beating up my ex's crooked lawyer to go, all else aside that this thing owes me. He stopped paying the piddly spousal support in January, so that's $10,000. Can I have a bit of that? Can you just chip it my way? So it's not like I'm not attempting. I mean, I should have several $1 million at my disposal.
Okay.
Which is why the wagons have been circled on me. I mean, I got a $3 million action against these crooked lawyers, another $3 million action against the 13 against, and I've got all the evidence. It's on my website. I couldn't have more. Literally could not have more. So then they'd like nothing more than for me to end up on a park bench, have everything stolen, maybe get a stab wound, end up in the hospital. Who knows what happens after that. Mm-hmm. And that's not me being paranoid.
Yeah.
That's actually the reality.
Okay.
So the police were just here, and I told them...
Police were here?
Yeah, I called them.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So they were just here, and said, well, what do you want? We'll just log this in case Ottawa catches up with you. And I said, no. I said, I want some arrests made. I've got dirt on 300 individuals. I don't want this to be logged as if, I'm afraid for my life.
Did you get the officers' names?
Absolutely.
Chance? Okay. Do you know who they were? Or can you tell me their names?
Yeah, sure.
I might know them. This book.
They would be Macintosh, badge number 9654. I don't really didn't get the accent, but Diela.
Okay, yeah, I don't know then.
9767 and crisis worker named Jess.
Jess, okay. Okay, yeah. All right.
So I'm a whistleblower, and
I looked at their website before I came here. Yeah, it's very comprehensive, I must say.
and it's not even half done. It's just what I've managed to do while I'm doing, because I still have to participate in court. So I had 2 court appearances this week that I had to prepare for. They were both obfuscated by the system. So all that's on my site is what I've managed to upload and present. There's so much more.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I can only do so much. Like I'm on a train with no Wi-Fi, trying to attend court to obtain third-party records to defend myself against a malicious vexation application, which they're using to shut down my civil action. Like, it's quite complex, right? And I'm doing the squash on a Via Rail train with no resources or staff. And I've got this law firm against me, the Ottawa Police Services, the Mayor of Ottawa. I got all these little wolves out. It gives wolves a bad name. Hyenas. I got all these drooling hyenas. And I'm just... And I've been doing this for years.
Okay. All right, so...
I'd like to not be on a park bench.
Right, for sure.
And I don't eat a lot, but I'd like to have,
So is your, like... Are you still traveling somewhere, or is this your end location? Is
at this point, unless I can have my children safely returned to me and given some sort of protection, then I don't see any reason to stay.
Okay.
Because if I'm just being targeted by...
Where are you from originally?
Ottawa. That's where my house is. Okay. That's how come I have so much dirt on Ottawa. It's because they did this to me while I was on. I have dirt on a whole whack of them. The whole legal community, judicial community, hospitals, doctors, schools, CAS, all of it. It's a hub for human trafficking. Period.
Yeah. Okay.
I know it's a heavy load.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And I'm sorry, and I don't expect an answer or anything. I was pleased.
No, for sure. Well, so we can definitely refer. I'll give you my card.
Someone gave me a hint that I'm supposed to end up in Mexico.
Okay.
I've been to Mexico. I lived there. So, I don't know where I'm going to end up.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I mean, the whole place is a mess, right? Not just North America. The whole thing is ready for a big table flip, as you probably know.
Well, if you don't think you're going to stay here, if that is what happens, would you continue going out west, or would you go back to Ottawa? What would you do?
Well, I can't go to Ottawa because I'll just get rearrested and framed. There's no upside for Ottawa. All there is risk for my children. Okay. The second I go back to Ottawa,
and they're in Ottawa.
Yeah, okay. And even though they're living with sociopath, at least they're still breathing, which I'm going to assume, for the sake of, if our father wanted to take them out by now, he would have. He hasn't. They're still there, so there's no point in me showing up there and being framed for the murder of my daughter. And that's how bad it is. I'm not exaggerating.
Oh, I believe it.
So out west, Alberta, BC's a mess, and Alberta is. I'm not sure if you follow. I follow all this. I don't know. Is there which province? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really follow much of what maybe we were talking about, but
everybody's fleeing to Alberta. I think it's a big trap, personally. I mean, you got what's her face and the new premier. And again, nobody's talking about the WEF and what they're rolling out, all the Policy Horizons Canada, which if you do nothing else but look at that, follow that interview, it's not me talking, it's a bookstore in Ottawa who did the research on it, and the tab has all the, it's not my card, but it has all of the government source documents. It's undeniable. It's undeniable what the federal government is rolling out on the fly. And no one's talking about it. So all our politicians, even your Wayne Gates, is complicit. Because this is public knowledge. This is like in your face what they're doing. CBC, not a word. And I got dirt on all the media outlets as well. It's being rolled out as everybody just is distracted by whatever it is they decide to flash up on the news. I don't watch the news. The news is freaking garbage.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there either.
So if you do nothing else, this is a 2-part interview, and I did it super quickly because somebody else was supposed to interview him, and they screwed him over at the last minute. So I happened to have my gear because I was being interviewed by a couple of people in the U.S.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so I said, I'll help you. I'll just do it. I mean, I haven't interviewed anyone before, but let's toss this together. And he wanted it done in a hurry because there was something happening at the Ottawa U. And he wanted to hand out his flyers. So I said, okay, well, let's do this. And so it's not perfect, but there's a ton of information in there, and people need to know about it because by the time they tell you, it'll be too late.
Okay. What does CFA stand for, sorry?
Chartered Financial Analyst.
And then BBA is?
Bachelor of Business Administration. I went to Laurier. So, I mean, part of my job too, I wrote a high-profile macroeconomic investment commentary magazine for 10 years. I was a ghostwriter for MD Financial. And so part of the reason I know so much is because I spent 10 years seeing the underbelly of the investment world. So I know a lot about how that side of things work. And I've also had multiple jobs. So I've worked in the federal government. I've done forensic auditing. I've investigated banks and insurance companies. So I have that part of my CV's in there under About Us.
Yeah, okay.
So I have a whole lot of I have the different vistas. So I'm 57, and because I have never committed fraud, I never got slippery sloped into a silo of just stupidity. I don't know what else to call it.
Right.
So, and blessed with some other, experiences and knowledge, which helps me put it all together. So my background is with this position.
Okay. Well, so you've already tried all the shelters and stuff, but you're paid up here for another night, right?
I'm paid up here for another night.
Okay, so that's good.
I'm trying to get funds to stay here if I can.
Right.
My number one I would have done it today, but I wanted to get other evidence uploaded, so I will try. And also the shelter at the YMCA said they'd be able to help with a passport without me paying full freight.
Okay.
So my number one priorities are to try to get a passport, and we'll just get some help. Right? It's crazy that I should have to do this. Like,
what other type of ID do you have right now? Do you have like?
I have my Ontario health card, and I have my driver's license, and my SIN card, and.
Do you have a birth certificate on you?
Oh, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Everything else is gone. What I had on my person when I was the first time I was falsely accused, arrested, March 14th, 2019. That's all I have as far as ID. Everything else, and literally everything else I own.
Where'd you get arrested
is
by?
stolen. It was Quebec.
Quebec police?
Yeah.
Like
RCMP.
the provincial Quebec.
This is a story into itself. So RCMP, basically, I got arrested twice by this guy who just wanted to arrest me for whatever reason.
So you have no criminal record or anything?
No, I was
That's good.
extorted into a probation order.
Yep.
So this is on my site.
Okay. Yeah, we can
So
take a look at that.
basically, what they did, they just kept adding charges to try to extort me into whatever, and I keep wanting to say, no, I'm going to trial. I haven't committed a crime. This is insane. And so I ended up getting, they're up to 14 charges. At one point, one of the charges was B&E.
Break and enter? Yeah.
On my own house, where I stole nothing, and I had no criminal intent. I was just trying to go to the house to tell my kids the truth, right?
Right.
And I even was arrested with a duffel bag. I did it intentionally because this is they broke this restraining. They broke the restraining order was only part of the.
Who had the restraining order against you? Your daughter?
No, my ex.
Yeah.
So it was so slick, right?
Yeah.
So it's all part of the ghosting the wife thing. It's the whole strategy.
Yeah.
So they say, oh, here's the conditions. The parents are supposed to, work effectively together for the benefit of the children. They're supposed to do this. But for the mother, you're not allowed to attend the house. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed that. Well, he violates all these other ones, prevents me from speaking to the children for 5 months.
Yeah.
Till eventually I go, this is insane. And I go,
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
it. Put on my gear, grab my duffel bags of evidence against these monsters, and go to the house and violate it on purpose with evidence so that I can get to a real police person and go,
Yeah.
this is what's going on. Well, instead of that, I end up with a crooked cop. So I got evidence against all that, right? But they
Yeah.
converted that whole thing. they converted that whole thing into a series of charges, which they ended
Yeah.
up dropping all of them.
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
except for one. They say, well, I said I want to go to trial, and I ended up with another crooked lawyer, but she said, well, just agree to this thing and lawfully indwelling and I'll argue it should be acquitted. And I ended up with a 3-year probation or not allowed to talk to my kids. It's illegal for me to send my children a birthday card.
Oh, jeez. Is that still in effect right now?
You betcha.
Oh boy.
For how much longer?
Another 2 and a bit years.
Oh, okay, so.
I mean, people could have raped my daughter in 2019 and they would have had more rights than I have. It's illegal for me to contact my children's teachers to see how they're doing because it's part of a probation order. So what's happened, what they're doing is, so you get arrested for anything. You know what? I don't like the way you look. You're making me nervous. Criminal harassment. Boom, you're arrested. Off to jail you go. Then you have to call duty counsel. Like, well, he's got no history of drugs, weapons, violence. You shouldn't be holding him on bail on remand until his trial. It's like, okay, fair enough. We'll let him out on a release order. But he likes to eat chocolate chip ice cream, and that obviously triggers some sort of sugar imbalance in him, which makes him violent, and we don't want that. So he can no longer eat chocolate chip ice cream. That's on his release order. Boom. Just circumvented the Criminal Code of Canada. You have a crime specific to you. So when you go, it's like, man, I miss my chocolate chip ice cream. It's like no one will notice. You just go get chocolate chip ice cream. You're arrested, tossed in. You got a charge. Section 127, disobeyed an order. That's what they're doing. The Crown prosecutors and judges are creating crime, custom-made crime on the fly for targeted individuals.
Okay. All right. Well.
Sorry, it's a lot.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Same thing with probation orders.
For sure. Well, I'm glad that you have the room paid up until tomorrow, or for tonight, I should say. Tomorrow's the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. We still work on the weekends. I don't, but there are weekend staff. So if you need to get a hold of us again over the weekend, give 201 a call and ask for an ASO.
Okay.
Otherwise, Monday, you can contact me for sure.
Okay, well, I only have, so just keep contacting the shelters tomorrow?
Yes, just keep calling shelter. You have all the numbers there, so that's good. The ones you probably won't be eligible for are Jillian's place in Birchway, because you're not escaping partner violence.
Well, I am actually. It's just that I've been doing it for so long, it doesn't count anymore.
So how does it count anymore? You would be totally
This is
fine.
endurance. This is endurance. This is like...
No, I know. I'm sorry. You would totally fine to go to either one of the YWCAs.
The new beds.
And, well, if you keep calling them, you would be eligible for this one, right? So, Niagara, here in the Falls, or St. Catharines.
Right.
Yep.
All right, teacher. Wish you all the best, okay, dear?
Thank you much.
Southridge, definitely good to keep calling them, okay? Yeah, those are the shelters that are available. Not a whole lot, unfortunately, but...
And they're all full.
And they're awful. In the mornings are the best time to call. I called yesterday morning for Southridge, and they had a couple beds available. Well, one bed available for like a male bed, but because in the mornings, like 7:30, 8.
I know. Yeah, I called this morning.
The best times to call. So just keep trying to do that. That's my best advice to you right now, in regards to that. I don't know if I can help you with. You sound like you have this under control yourself.
Yeah, until I'm on a park bench.
Until you're on a park, which is
Tomorrow.
What will help you hopefully try to do that.
Yeah.
But call 211 tomorrow, okay, if you need any more support.
Because what I'll do is I'm not going on a park bench. I'll just get arrested. I will go to a store and I'll say, I'm sorry, I have to do this. I have to steal this bottle of Coke. Please call the police and have me arrested for shoplifting. I mean, seriously, in my situation, there's really no other option. If I can't get into a shelter, then I'll have to go to a jail cell. I mean, what do I care?
No, for sure.
It's crazy. Then that's how crazy this thing that's going on is.
Yeah.
They'll pay $500 a night for me to be in prison.
How long ago did you call shelters? Did you call this morning, or did you call
this morning? And yes, last night, this morning.
Have you called at any point besides this morning? Did you call?
Well, no, because they told me call it shift change, so I write down when to call back. There's no point, they just say call 4 times a day. So I'll just call the YMCA's again because shift change is around 3, and call back to the ones you mentioned, Southridge at 7 and at 10 after curfew. I mean, I spent 2 days in the. I mean, I've been in a couple of shelters already, and I spent 2 days in the emergency one in St. John, so I kind of get how it works.
Okay. I mean, I'll call them right now, just to see, just so we cover that base.
Sure.
So what's that? Mind if I sit on that?
Absolutely not. You cool. Have to make stuff down. Yeah, I know the feeling.
Standing so much today.
Yeah, I know. When I finally got this bed last night, I was just
Oh,
like,
like that.
thank you.
Like that.
The train rides, these long train rides are brutal.
If they answer the phone is another thing. How do you transport your computer? Is it in one of these suitcases?
Yeah, it's my office, the black one.
Oh, the bubble wrap, okay.
This computer's been everywhere. You wouldn't believe where it is. This computer's been Alaska, Mexico. We've worked everywhere.
Alright, they didn't answer.
It's okay. You don't have to do that. I mean, I'm on it, but I have
Okay.
my
Yeah,
expectations are pretty low.
See if I can get a hold of them at least. They didn't answer. Not your fault. They didn't answer, so I'll call St. Catherine.
Oh yeah, Niagara Falls Y hasn't answered in 24 hours. Well, that's the other thing too. I'm happy to work. If you know anyone who wants to hire me, whatever, I can do almost anything. Seriously, I mean, I've been a professional consultant for 20 years. I can write, I can speak. I was waitress and bartender through university. I did Excel guru, or at least I used to be before they messed up the software. You know, I took a construction job a couple of years ago, just for a couple of days, hauling out drywall. But I quit because after 2 days, I realized at 6 feet tall with the boots and being out of shape on the cleanup crew, not good for my back. But I could be flag girl, you know, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna probably hit up some hotels at some point and see if I could. I met a great waitress at the Westin a couple nights ago before they threw me out. That's why I ended up at McDonald's. And I thought I could easily dust off my waitressing skills, bartending skills. I'm not looking for a handout. I'm not looking for anything.
No, for
I'm
sure,
just
yeah.
looking to survive, whistle blow, and get this thing shut down and my children back. You know. So if you know of anyone who wants, or room and board where I can, you know, I could be a nanny. I used to homeschool my children. So the only way I can actually survive is through word of mouth because I'm on the watch list. So people don't want to touch me with a 10-foot pole.
Right.
Anyway, if you go to the About Us tab on my site and scroll down, you will see there's a link to my CV.
Okay.
And it shows you, it's a
Like your whole
4-page
resume,
CV. All my resume's there.
Okay.
And
I'll take a look.
I haven't been compensated for professional services since 2016. So I've been living off of my home equity, my corporate savings, everything else since then, and now they're gone.
Right.
So.
Okay. For sure. I'll do that. Yeah. So yeah, keep calling shelters. Like even like not just even in the mornings, but like every other hour. Like even like just badger them because if you call and there's a bed when you call, then you most likely will get that bed. So,
I will do that. I need to go and just like I'm gonna splurge and buy something to eat. I'm gonna go and get something to eat at Subway or something. And
definitely. Yeah.
I'll come back and.
Okay. Well, it's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Please give me a call Monday with what's going on, or call 211 if you can't get a hold of me. My hours on Monday are going to be 11:30 to 7.
Okay. And you can pop out like anytime, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yep.
11:30 to 7.
11:30 to 7.
Okay.
What's my
Monday to Friday, 11:37.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I will, if you want, I will give you an update. I'll put it in my agenda to
Sure.
give you a call.
Please do.
My life's pretty weird. I never know where I'm going to end up.
That's okay. Yeah. And if you end up, I don't know, leaving the region, I'm sure it won't be this weekend, but we'll help you as much as we can while you're here.
I mean, if there was in Newfoundland, since you brought that up, Newfoundland was going to. They said if you were on social assistance, we could help you get back to Ontario. But because you were kicked off, we can only help you get as far as off the island. So they were going to pay for my bus and my ferry ticket. And I just thought, but they kept delaying and delaying, and I just thought, I just want to be here anymore. Like, I don't know what's going on with you people. So, I mean, I could probably find perhaps someone in another province that I might be able to stay with. There's other whistleblowers that are also persecuted. So
Are
if
you in contact with?
well, I'm on Twitter quite a bit. So
Okay.
if you're suggesting that in your role you're able to help, but I can't afford. This is my last offer. I literally can't afford to go anywhere else until someone gives me back some of my money.
Right.
Right. But if you're in a position to say, oh, well, she's can be, housed in whatever, Manitoba, let's say, then we can pay for her to get there. And I can go on Twitter and I can go, okay, this is a possibility. Does anybody have a job, like something that gives me room and board?
Yeah.
I'm happy to work for it. Does anybody know anybody who can do this? Because there are pockets of people who are aware of what's going on out west. It's just I don't like asking. I've never been in a position where I've had to ask for that before. So, if that's a possibility, maybe I'll put out some of those feelers. I mean, I did in the U.S. I said I might be heading to the U.S. Does anybody know anybody? But I haven't done it in Canada because I thought, I'll almost give it up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for sure. Yeah. My best advice is to keep calling Sean so you have somewhere to stay that it's not going to cost you anything more than it needs to.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Saturday, Sunday night. We'll see.
Okay. And then you have an appointment for OW on Monday.
Yep.
Right? Okay, cool.
Do you know what the turnaround on that is?
I don't know. It's hopefully no more than like a couple weeks.
A couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Oh, they can
it
do
depends.
it faster than that.
They should be able to do it faster than
Yeah,
that.
you
That's
should
the longest.
do
The
it
longest
in
I've heard of it taking
A
is
couple days.
hopefully
Anyway.
a couple weeks.
All I can do is all I can do. I mean,
If you
like I said, if I have to
need like
get
a ride
arrested-
to, because we can do that. I can drive people around. If you need a ride to the appointment, and what time is it at?
it's at 9 on Monday.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, it's close by.
It is pretty close. It's on Pierce Street.
So how far a walk would that be? Because 9, they won't kick me out of, if I'm here, they won't kick me out of here until 11.
Mm-hmm.